Hey everybody, I want to thank you for watching Market Watch's very first interview. Personally, I'm extremely excited for this. I'm proud that it's happening. We want to do more and more interviews. Our first guest, he's going to be a hard act to follow because he is the co-author of the new book, The Wallstreet Era is Over. They were nice enough to send me a copy. I was able to read it. Um, Very good content in here. This book could be read by beginners to get their foot in the door in DeFi, and also by more advanced users like myself to just solidify. And you're gonna learn something new no matter what level you're at in DeFi or in crypto in general. Michael Rosmer is also the co-founder of DefiYield.app. It's a service online where you can track your portfolio. They plan on implementing machine learning to give you the best yields. They're going to add a yield optimizer. I highly suggest you checking out that site if you are involved in DeFi or if you want to get a better understanding of what goes on in the cryptocurrency world. He also has a YouTube channel, which is, I've been taking a look at his YouTube channel and I've been watching his videos. He posts every single day, mostly tax advice, international tax advice. Huge wealth of knowledge there. Absolutely free to watch his videos, so I highly recommend that. I want to thank you guys one more time, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. Let's get it going. All right, guys, so today we have Michael Rosmer. He's the co-founder of DefiYield, the co-author of the new book, The Wallstreet Era is Over. And I know a lot of people will be happy to hear that title. I know we have some Wall Street fans and we have some people who are probably not the biggest fans of Wall Street, and that's why we're in cryptocurrency. He's also a content creator. I've been watching his YouTube show, and it's just a wealth of information. I would highly recommend you guys go and check out Offshore Citizen and subscribe to see what Michael's all about, completely free. Um, and yeah, Michael, if you want to just jump in and kind of introduce DefiYield, what you guys have been up to, and where that's been leading you.
Sure, sure. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, great to be with you. So, I mean, I guess like many of the people who are on your show and yourself, you know, discover crypto as, something that's pretty cool in terms of, I guess, the way that I conceptualize it is what we're going through right now is probably the biggest financial revolution in the last 100 years. Just a radical, at least potential reorganizing of the financial system, a lot of the traditional institutions that used to serve us, maybe don't serve us so well anymore. And, there's this new technology that's enabling us to do it in a very different way. And so we at the team started to go down and utilize this stuff and started off investing and then eventually discovered DeFi. And to me, DeFi was this amazing thing because it wasn't just like, hey, I buy some useless token and it goes up or down in price. It was like, now we can start doing stuff with it, right? We can take loans, we can stake, we can lend, we can yield farm. But that's a bit of a jungle out there. There's just all kinds of things that can jump out and maul you. And so we started building technology. We're in the privileged position of, having had success in various different businesses. And so we hired teams. We have, awesome smart contract auditors and developers and people like this who we could bring on. And we started to cultivate a bit of a community for other people who could utilize that. And so for people who are interested, they can go check out. We have what is, a lot of people would probably say is the best Telegram channel on the internet for yield farming. If people are interested in that subject, we've got a great community of people. We try to put out regular updates on latest projects and what's going on. We have some of the top people in the space, founders of some of the big projects are part of our group. And so that's really awesome. And now we're starting to provide the software that we've been kind of, we're building tools for ourselves, but with the intention of saying, how do we make DeFi accessible to a huge number of people? Because right now it's super clunky, right? Basically, it's like MS-DOS on computers back in the 90s or something. And it shouldn't be like that. So what would it take? And, kind of doing for DeFi what Robinhood has done for traditional finance of being able to bring in a lot of people. In our case, we've looked at it and said, it needs to be A, more accessible, and B, we need to bring in safety. And so we're the only people out there who are building machine learning to audit smart contracts and kind of uncover a lot of the potential concerns that might cause you to lose money in the space, get scammed. And so a lot of different automation in that regard, and it's going to be really exciting. I encourage anyone who's interested, I encourage you to go to DefiYield.app. You can connect your MetaMask to our system, and you can follow your portfolio and add liquidity and remove it. We're adding tons of features as we go. So, it'll be lots and lots that we're uncovering over the next little while.
Yeah, the machine learning aspect I think is really interesting because that's obviously in programming and in software development, machine learning is huge right now, and to be able to implement that to protect investors and show them maybe beneficial projects versus other ones, especially like you said in this space, it can get very tricky. I've been in crypto for a long time. I know you have as well, and there's always been detractors. There's always been the people who are going to tell you, "Oh, Bitcoin's a scam," and but with each new wave, like you said, and with the DeFi, it gets harder and harder to tell what's a good what's a good project and what's not. So I
Yeah.
think you guys are doing a great service, and everybody should definitely check that out. I know also you are a tax expert. I've been watching your videos, and just there's so much information. You got for anybody. You got people who want to know taxes in the U.S., in other countries, Europe, Australia. Um, so if you could speak a little bit just on your expertise in the tax realm and why you decided to start helping people out with crypto, the taxes, some of the differences between, because I know with crypto now you could be yield farming, you could be mining, you could be paid in crypto. It could be just an investment and you're getting your capital gains. So many different
Yep.
ways. Everybody's kind of confused. If you could just kind of give your own words on why you decided to start helping people and maybe what they can do.
Sure. Yeah. So my expertise is really specifically in international tax. And the way that I kind of look at it, I think of it very like harmonious with crypto because the types of people I attract tend to be what I would describe maybe as like successful deviants, right? People who have a little bit an edge direction and they're successful. And crypto is kind of like that, right? You've got these people who don't necessarily think inside the box. And when you approach things, there's good local CPAs in whatever country it is that you're in, but usually there's a limited number of resources in terms of how you can optimize your tax within that box. And then you have to look outside the box. And most people aren't really aware of what that means, right? You can go and talk to most local accountants or lawyers, and they just have no clue. They don't get what it's like outside because that's how they were educated, right? They go to school, they were educated in a particular way. This is what it is. And so for me, I guess the skill set that I've developed and what my team is able to do, et cetera, really lends itself well to people who find themselves mobile. They can, choose to live in different places. There's no boundaries with crypto. That's one of the super cool things. There's, you could go and sit in Bali and yield farm, or you could sit in, Missouri and yield farm, or you could sit in, South Africa and yield farm, right? You can do all these things. And it's really one of the cool changes that I'm seeing in the world is, kind of this dispersal of wealth outside of kind of the Silicon Valley ecosystem to all around the world, which I think is really cool. And so, yeah, then people come and, like you said, it's super complicated because you just think about like the most basic concept I like to talk about is, if I'm going in yield farming, so I take some token, which has some value, which is changing, and then I put it onto auto farm, and the value is changing, and I'm getting rewards in tokens, which are constantly coming in. When am I taxed on that? How much are they worth? Is it when I sell them? Is it not? Then on top of that, I'm getting yields paid in maybe auto tokens, which I'm harvesting. And those have a different value, which is also changing at a different rate. Then I'm going to cash out. Maybe I change it to like BNB, which had a different value than, so it's so complicated. And so that's where, DefiYield, our platform, allows you to track your portfolio value in real time, how it changed over time, et cetera, and kind of simplify a lot of these transactions for you. It's one of a few different tools out there. So yeah, I guess it's just an area that the types of people who I really resonate with are in the space, and they're the types of people who are struggling with these problems. And if I can come and give them some good information, that's great.
I love that. I love the deviant aspect and that you're embracing it. I think that's the reason why I got into crypto. I think it's the reason why a lot of people get in. It's kind of like a freedom. We want control of our own money. There's not a lot of ways to do that, and crypto is providing it.
Yeah.
For me personally, crypto has kind of lifted me from minimum wage, like not much advancement type positions, into I have to start worrying about taxes. So, I was always a guy who didn't really have to pay much taxes, and now I have to start worrying about it. So, do you have any advice to people who, because of crypto, might be going up some tax brackets and now might be kind of concerned about somebody looking and auditing them, or just making sure all your I's or your T's are crossed, and make sure that you got your taxes settled, for people who might be jumping up a tax bracket?
Yeah, 100%. So I think the first thing is just understanding that you should be paying taxes based on your country's rules. I think that, being a little bit rebellious, people in crypto may feel like, hey, how do they know, et cetera. And the reality is, increasingly, exchanges are reporting to the government. That's just, they're getting really good at on-chain analytics. There was a big thing you might have seen with the FBI managing to get this Bitcoin from this wallet a little while ago. And so they're getting better at that, and it's not a good bet that, hey, listen, they're not going to find out. Them not finding out is like, you know what? Maybe just there are ways to plan around it effectively. And depending on what level you're at, I mean, in some cases, it's pretty simple. You're just buying tokens, the value is going up, and you can sell them, and you can usually get favorable capital gains rates, right? So that's usually, okay, they're proposing to raise that in the US, but often you get some benefit there. If you're doing more sophisticated things, I think it really pays you to start a business and treat it like a business, because this way you can write off expenses. So that's very good for you. Often you can defer out a lower tax. So to give some idea of this, federal income tax in the US at the corporate level is 21%. Maximum personal is 37%. They're talking about raising it to 39.6. And so, there's a differential that you can compound and you can benefit from. Now, if you start making a lot of money, then you can start looking at, okay, are there more sophisticated legal structures? There might be. That could be really good for you. Or can you relocate? I have everything from going to Puerto Rico to people renouncing their US citizenship, buying another passport, going and moving to Portugal or Thailand or Dubai or something like that. And then people in other parts of the world don't have to renounce their citizenship, so that's good. And they can just move to other parts of the world. So it's very case by case. It's very much dependent on where you are, but broad strokes, I think that gives kind of a starting point anyway.
Cool, man. I've been very impressed by all your content, and you guys were nice enough to send me a copy of the book. I've been able to read about halfway through it. I consider myself semi-advanced. I've been in crypto for a while, and reading through this book, I can tell that it's speaking at my level, but also a beginner could pick this book up and get a solid footing on DeFi and cryptocurrency in general. So I wanted to ask you, who did you have in mind when you did help co-author this book? Because I know it was a team effort.
It is a team effort. Yeah, they deserve all the credit. We've got great people there. So I think really our target market was, of course, we have a community of like OG great people. And so, as much as possible, we want to be able to speak to everybody. But really the idea in mind was, you've got 45 million Coinbase users who, they have some experience with crypto, right? They bought some tokens. They obviously, at least at some level, are interested and believe in it. But there's, maybe like 250,000 yield farmers, right? And so there's this big gap between those who have just discovered Bitcoin and basic crypto and bought things, and those who have dove into the world of DeFi, which especially, when the markets are down, is way better, because you can just keep making yield, and it doesn't matter whether the market's going up or down or sideways. You're making money, which is fantastic. So I think really speaking to those people and then helping to bring them up to a level that's more sophisticated. Basically, again, all the tools, the information we provide, et cetera, help people basically be able to transition from basic, like, hey, buying and selling tokens, to being able to unlock all these other cool tools that crypto enables.
Cool. I thought it'd be interesting. I know myself personally, I'm really interested in the entrepreneurial side, and clearly you've been successful in launching multiple projects, from the app to the book to your YouTube channel. I just wanted to, have my viewers get a chance to get to know you a little bit better, and ask you, where did you find this entrepreneurial spirit, and how did you push forward with it to launch these successful projects?
Super good question. I think, so I was always interested in being exceptional from an early age, whether it was being interested in top athletes or, being interested in what was I would read the Guinness Book of World Records. I'd go to my grandma and be like, hey, who's the fattest man in the world, whatever it is. And so that, I think, pointed me in a direction of realizing that if I wanted to do the things that I wanted in life, if I wanted to have the time that I wanted, the location independence that I wanted, the freedom to do things that I wanted, there's really only one way to do that, and that is through entrepreneurship. So to me, it's almost not really a choice, right? You're like, okay, well, I could go work a job. That won't give me the life that I want. I could, maybe be involved in government. That won't give me what I want. So what is the way that I can do it? Well, the main path is through entrepreneurship. And that can be a hard road, right? That can be frustrating, and this is not an easy thing. But that being said, I think we only get one shot at life. And so, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to settle for something less, or are you going to be like, hey, I have one shot, I might as well give it my all? And for me, that's the idea. Like, hey, you have one opportunity, give it your all, make the most of it. And as a result, go for there. And then I think that social circle is just such a huge thing. Who you surround yourself with makes the biggest difference in the world. I think if somebody is not in a position where, and it's even hard to tell like who those people are. For me, for a while, I was told this thing of like, hey, listen, if you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. And I would go and meet these old dudes who, basically had their companies succeed because they'd just been in them for 30 years and really actually weren't that smart or anything like this. And that wasn't that useful for me. It was when I got around people who were like builders and interested in making shit happen, living dynamically and paying attention to trends, et cetera, that things became it just unlocked a lot more possibilities. And I really encourage somebody to do that. Just, follow what, just to go out there. I think the most basic steps are focus on just learning and learn fucking everything, right? Doesn't matter what you're learning. Learning has just got such a reward in and of itself. And then build relationships and, just see where those take you. And those will take you to some place that you could not predict otherwise, but can be over the long term really, really valuable.
I think that's awesome advice. Especially, it seems like it's getting easier and easier to get just locked into a path that you don't really want to be on. And I think entrepreneurship can really help. It's not an easy path, like you said, you're gonna fail 100 times before you succeed at anything. And as you start doing it, you mentioned the research, just diving in and researching. You got to know what you're doing before you do it. But as you start going, how do you find time to keep up with the research? Because you're putting out so much information, giving it out to everybody, doing all the things you're doing. All these things take time. You only have so much time in the day. So how do you keep up on the research? How do you make sure that you know what's coming next in the crypto sphere?
Oh man, it's not easy. I would say a few different things. One is, again, going back to surrounding myself with people who are also in it. So even just like conversations like this, I hope, you learn a little bit from me. I learned a little bit from you. You're going to tell me something that I've not heard of before. I'm going to tell you some things, and that's going to give me something to go and research, right? So that's one of them. Second is just being on top of, and actually I've started to block off time in my schedule where I'm like research DeFi, and so that's usually watching YouTube videos is the main thing, right? There's some great channels out there, and I'll check it out. And then fortunately, we have a team of people who are really technical. So for example, we're doing some L2 DEX development internally that we're releasing. And so I was having some conversations with the team the other day, and I'm like, hey, like, explain to me why we did these technology choices. Like, what's this one versus this one? And so they're like, okay, we'll line up a call for you with the lead developer early next week, and you can sit down, you can ask questions. And then I go and I read some articles and I watch some videos. So I have some background, and then I can go talk to him. I can get some great info, and then I can be like, okay, great, and I'll try and ingrain that into my life. And then I guess the last thing that I should mention is I think it's really good to share information with people. I really strongly believe when you teach others, you learn twice.
Yes. Yeah.
And so there were times when I would read books back in the day, and people would have this belief that like, oh, Michael reads tons of books because he's like busting out these quotes. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm reading like probably less books than you are. The difference is I think about the stuff that I read, and then I talk to people about it. And so it just goes into my consciousnness a lot better, and I can regurgitate it easier. And, I have some mental model that I can build on to go from there. So I don't know if that helps, but that's my.
That's a great point. That last point you made, and you can see it. You can see it when you watch your videos. you can just tell you know what you're talking about. You know, some people you can tell they're going off a script, and you can tell when other people they feel it. It's inside of them. It's knowledge that they have that they're sharing. And like you
Yeah.
said, when you start teaching other people, when you start genuinely speaking from what you know, you just start learning more and more, and other people can feel it, and they'll do the same thing back to you. So I know exactly what you mean. I know with DefiYield, you guys are launching a token soon. I wanted to ask you kind of what the plans are on that, and what you see the future of DefiYield being.
Yeah. So super excited that we're launching a token here in the next few weeks. That's going to be pretty awesome. It's got, I mean, a variety of different things it does. Governance is one of the key ones. And, for us, we have this really high standard that we need to live up to because we've built a community and a reputation based on helping people not get caught in scams and auditing smart contracts and all this kind of stuff. And we've got a really cool community of a bunch of really technical people who they'll go and audit smart contracts. So they're going to audit ours, I'm sure. And so we did a whole research project on all the top DeFi protocols, looking at how they handle their governance, evaluating all these different elements of it, and to formulate something that really serves the community. And we've got that. So that's one of the things. There's a bunch of different use cases, different things that the token can do. I can't even remember off the top of my head the whole list. We've got a whole list of things that the token does for you, aside from governance. But you'll be able to stake it, and you'll be able to guide the protocol and say, hey, listen, here's the things that we want developed. Here's how we want inflation managed. Here's how we want all these different things. And so yeah, it's going to be really really great for anyone who's part of the community. And we're hoping to do a bunch of things for kind of our early adopters to kind of give back to them. I'm excited about that.
Nice. I think something else that people are interested in when it comes to DeFi and the community around it is yield optimization.
Yeah.
I think I saw on DeFi Yield, you guys are planning yield optimization services. I'm not sure if that might be linked with the token, or if you can kind of just explain how that's gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll give a bit of background on, so we actually started having this idea back like last summer, right? And the basic premise was you go into this pool and you're making good yield, but the truth is that the yields vary quite a lot, especially the high yield ones, because as more people come in, the yield drops, right? And so you want to be able to say, okay, I want to watch this one and then I want to move my money to the next one and trying to figure out what's going to give you the best returns accordingly. But that actually is pretty much a full-time job, right? This is not actually such an easy thing to do. And so how great is it if you have some sort of an automation tool that can enable it, especially given, the background that we have in auditing contracts and the technology we're building in order to be able to assign what is basically a credit rating to various different projects, et cetera, to allow you to kind of put your money in and then have it distributed according to what's going to be optimal at the time. So that's a project we put quite a bit of effort into. This is a lot of work doing all
Yeah.
this development. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be a really great tool that serves the community. And again, kind of feeds our goal of making DeFi, and specifically referring to yield farming in this case, but the truth is all DeFi, more accessible to a broader range of people who don't have the time, don't have the sophistication, can't read code, can't audit smart contracts, don't know all the terminology, can't stay up on the latest flash loan attack vulnerabilities and things like this. Make it easy for them. So
Yeah, that's like you said, none of this is easy to do. It takes money, resources, time, a lot of technical knowledge. And what I like most about what you guys are doing is pretty much everything you're releasing is just giving back, helping. It's like a resource center. It provides most projects are farming or yielding, which is awesome. You can get your high APRs, you can get benefit off of that as well. But what you guys seem to be doing is strictly to help people, to give them resources and to just make people's experiences better and try to make sure that they can navigate through this landscape more clearly. So I think that's super awesome. Is there any last words you'd want to say about the project, about your team, what you guys are working on, or?
I mean, we've got an amazing team. There's a ton of great tools out there. Like, for example, we haven't talked about impermanent loss. That's a big thing. We built the most sophisticated impermanent loss calculator on the market. So you can go onto our website. You can check out, we built a It's kind of like CoinGecko for the contract audits. So you can kind of see that. So lots of different stuff. I would just encourage people to go and check out the website if they're interested. Again, that's free, so you can go and utilize it, try it out, join the community, because like I said, community is just so key. There have been a bunch of times when people would ask, like, hey, how did you manage to get into this thing so early before it pumped? It was like, well, basically I was just in the community, and I really can't take credit for it as being so great. It's more like I just listened to other people and paid attention to the trends going on there and followed accordingly. And so there's just so many people who can help you. Such a great opportunity that, yeah, I think it's really wonderful.
Awesome. Well, Michael, I'm extremely proud to have you as a guest on the show. I think this should be extremely helpful to people. I know me personally, I've learned a lot already from your YouTube channel, your book, and I'm using the site, connecting my wallet to it. I checked everything out. It's really great
Awesome.
to track everything. You got a portfolio tracker as soon as you get your wallet on there. I think
Yep.
everything you're doing is awesome, man. I'm definitely going to keep up to date with it. I'm going to keep using your services, and I would highly recommend everyone else to do the same.
Perfect. Well, really appreciate it, and would love to hear your feedback. So, as you go through, send me your comments, and we'll see what we can do to just keep improving, because that's really the goal.
Will do, man. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good one.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks very much.
Cool. Thank you, man. All
Yeah.
right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Michael Rosmer. Again, I'm very happy to have been able to have the opportunity to interview him. We're going to have another long form interview this coming Sunday. It's going to be a much longer interview, much more casual setting, and I think there's going to be even more knowledge to be gained through that. So I want to thank you guys one more time. I want to thank Michael Rosmer. I want to urge you guys to check out the links. They're all going to be in the description. All of Michael's links, all of mine as well. If you want to support my channel, please share this interview with your friends. Please like and subscribe. And to fund what I do here directly, I have my Bitcoin addresses. I have a PayPal. I have also a new show coming called Cali Gas Live. I'm actually bringing that show back, and it's going to be exclusive to Patreon users. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys are showing Michael support. He's giving out a bunch of free resources to you guys. And make sure you guys are showing me support as well. So hope you guys have a good day, and thank you for watching.